Ahoy hoy there in YouTube land. It's time for another YouTube video from the Lazy-Eyed Modeler. I wanted to get one done before now, earlier this week actually, but unfortunately we've been experiencing snowmageddon around here. We've had the north winds pounding off the Great Lakes and just dumping us in snow. And that kind of means I've been getting much more intimate with my snowblower than I care to. Currently it's about minus 20 Celsius or minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Crazy cold for what's still fall, really. But that's not why I'm here. Another video for my channel. Today I'd like to discuss my plans for for a zombie killer, a zombie fighting vehicle, as Dr. Cranky is putting together that book. And even though zombies aren't my thing and the whole zombie killer thing, really I kind of was neither here nor there with it. When Dr. Cranky mentioned his book, something popped into my mind and it kind of sounds like fun, and I think I'm going to have to try to go for it. So I'd like to mention some of the things I've gathered so far for the build, and a little bit of the inspiration, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I needed was armament. Now, some type of armament in 1/25th scale, I wasn't really sure where I was going to find that. I mean, you could certainly go into the hobby store and buy a ton of 1/35th armor, but that doesn't really do me any good. So I was kind of puzzling on what to do with that when we were in a hobby shop on our trip to the Detroit NNL. And lo and behold, I happened to be walking by and I saw something on the shelf that, hey, that gives me some armament. So this is the recent release of the World War II Jeep kit by Round 2. It's labeled as an MPC model. It has some neat armament. It has a recoilless rifle on the side here, and it also has a machine gun. Both things could come in quite handy, and also has small arms apparently. So we'll have to see what that entails, and I don't know if that would actually make it onto the exterior of the model, but it could have some potential. And that is a start. I've got armament. So I mean, I know I could have created armament, but I'm kind of conservative and I thought I'd start with something, since this is my first build with that type of thing. Start with something somebody else has already created. Why not? Why reinvent the wheel? At least when you're kind of rusty with model building and you want to do something like this, it might be a good idea to start with pre-built or pre-available armament. Now, my vehicle is going to be a hybrid vehicle, and I just thought I'd mention part of one of the vehicles that's going to go into this build that I have in mind, and that would be a bug. I just happen to have this kit close at hand and available, and part of it, or maybe some parts of it, will be going into this build. Now, I'm not sure if I'll use this version because it's molded in orange, and I don't know if I want to deal with the orange plastic. I don't know if it'll bleed through. I've had this quite a few years. It might be alright, I don't know. Fortunately, I have a later edition, a white version up on the shelf, and I might use that instead. So think about it and think what I could be using out of this. Might be interesting, and you'll see where I go with that. Now, a lot of the zombie builds that I've seen in books and online and on YouTube videos, they have screening of some type. They're again trying to find screening in 1/25th scale or something that looks realistic in 1/25th scale can be difficult. Fortunately, my friends at the Toronto area plastic modelers, they were talking about screening, and even though they were thinking of it for race cars and whatnot, it can apply to what we're doing here with the zombie build. And this is what they mentioned to get. They mentioned go to the dollar store and pick up one of these splatter screens. Easily available. This one was $1.25. And if we rip it open and take a look at it, I'll just rip the cardboard off here. That gives us a fair bit of screen. Cut it apart, disassemble it, you have a nice bit of screen. They did mention that you might have to, once you cut it, sort of super glue the ends so they don't unravel on you. I don't know how this is going to work. We're going to find out, but it's a neat hint, and it really does look like it's an appropriate, 1/25 scale, especially if it was going, if you can imagine it going into a windscreen or something like that. It could work out really well. We'll see as I go along here. The other thing that I've picked up is some Vallejo paints. I know Dr. Cranky uses Vallejo quite a bit, especially when he's doing zombie builds where you're wanting, or even beater builds or whatever, where you're wanting all the layering effects and all that type of thing that's becoming more and more popular and common these days. The salt chipping and the hairspray and all that type of thing. They recommend you use acrylic paints for that. And so, I have quite a bit of Tamiya paint, but I didn't have any acrylic primer, and so I've picked up a couple. I've got a black and a white of the Vallejo primers, and I also have acquired over a little while, not just recently, but some different Vallejo, the small bottles of color, and I've recently picked up a couple others that I have in mind for this build. So we're going to see how that works. I've never done that type of thing, although I've done weathering before, and I hope to shortly have up a video with some of my older builds where you see I have done weathered vehicles in the past. But all this salt technique and the hairspray and dot filters and all that type of thing, that's new to me, and we're going to try it out, see how it works. And of course, I have Dr. Cranky's book here to help me along with that. I don't know if I'll try shading. That's one of the neat things that he shows in here, but I'll try some of the other things that he shows, as I've said, the salt and the hairspray and whatever else we can manage to do. I also think there'll be a little scratch building. Unfortunately, I have some evergreen stuff around here that I can use for scratch building. I'll see if what I have in mind I can accomplish. If not, we'll come up with something, but we'll go with it. Last but not least is, I did mention a hybrid vehicle, and I have a list here of 18 vehicles, of 18 different models that I'm trying to decide from to make the other half of the hybrid vehicle. I'm having a hard time deciding. So might be a while yet before you see any progress while I try to figure out the other half of this and get a start on it. And I'll show, obviously, once I get started and get some progress going, we'll make sure to make a little video and show it to you. And like I said, in the meantime, I hope to put together another little video of some of my old builds built a good 10 years or more so ago, and so you can see what kind of stuff I've done in the past, and well, hopefully it'll inspire you and might inspire me to get something new built and to have new eye candy for you guys to see. So anyway, that's it for now. There's more snow coming tonight apparently, so I've got to rest up and get ready for more snow blowing and shoveling in the morning. So take care, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye now.